Hi, Kashish. How are you? Am I audible right now?
Better. Yes.
Right.
Okay.
Great.
So, hi, how are you doing?
Excellent. All well. Grace of God.
Wow, that's amazing. I'm so excited for this session, I tell you. And from the beginning, I am actually, because we both work in the same area, which is relationship, of course. And you have so much more knowledge than me because I'm like a little kid in front of you. So, tell me, how much of years of experience you have in this field?
Well, if I look at it, more than nearly 15 years of experience, I guess, from the journey of, because I started my career at a very young age because, the background of psychology was there.
What age?
At the age of 16, nearly around 16, I just learned hypnosis and
before me also, I mean, I started when I was 18. You started when you were 16. My God, amazing.
So that was a journey in itself because I thought I wanted to understand the human mind in a much more deeper and profound ways. So perhaps my core competency was on relationships because over these years, I started working so much extensively on relationships. But somehow I realized that, over the period of time, something, different has to be done, something unique. I need to have a skill set.
Yeah.
And which is one of the reasons, I went ahead with hypnosis and hypnotherapy and past life work, and perhaps I could create a big name into this over these years.
Yeah, I get it. So these are, your mastery.
Absolutely.
Say, right? And you have converted these areas into the relationship. So you have done specialization in this field, and it's amazing to see this because I was always amazed to see that how the hypnotherapy works, how the past life regression therapy works, but I personally haven't learned anything about it till now. But I am so keen to know more about it. So tell me one thing before we start. Why relationship as your area, as your niche? Why relationship?
Okay, I believe that we are inundated with relationships. Not a single person on this planet Earth cannot survive without relationships, cannot survive without love, cannot survive without respect, and cannot survive without understanding and growing with each other. It's a symbiotic journey that we all undertake, and which is one of the reasons why I always want to work or perhaps help people to understand or enhance the quality of their relationships.
So what's your favorite kind of a relationship? What's your kind of favorite?
Well, if that's a question to me, well, I believe every relationship has its own charm.
Yeah.
And I believe that there is no one particular relationship that you can say that, okay, this is a larger than life relationship. If it's a married couple, that's also a good relationship. If they are in a live-in relationship, that's also a good relationship. If they have a relationship with their own self, that's the first relationship, the authentic relationship. Perhaps
so basically, you work in all the areas related to relationship. Absolutely. Okay, that's amazing. So what you feel that in which area people struggle more when it comes to relationship?
Okay. So if I put this relationship tag by saying that if it is marriage, if it is live-in, if it's courtship, whatever definitions that we want to give, any relationship dynamic comes with this issue of commitments. Whether you are getting into a live-in, whether you are in marriage, whether you're in courtship, any relationship dynamic struggles with commitment issues because the commitment comes, the responsibility has to be taken. And if the responsibility has to be taken, that's a very tough journey for many people because obviously they have not taken responsibility for their lives. I'm not saying that getting married is one of the ways to taking responsibility. That's not what I said. I said any relationship dynamic needs that, commitment. So that's where they
So why you think that people have these kind of commitment issues?
Okay. That depends on how their childhood upbringing seems to be. Like, for instance, if they have a very difficult childhood and they have trusting issues, especially with their loved ones, especially, it is generally observed that the identification that a child makes, like, for instance, when a girl makes an identification, she looks at the father. When a boy makes the identification, he looks at the mother. Now when this happens, now you might start wondering that, okay, the mother is committed, but but how is this boy getting into multiple relationship which doesn't have any significance? Reason, because he's seeing how the mother is treated by the father, and which is one of the reasons why he picks up that peculiar traits, and the trust goes for a toss. Now vice versa, the girl. Now the girl, when she looks and observes the father, because the father is the one man, perhaps the first person in her life, and he sees how the mother is being, how his wife is being treated, and obviously for the girl, she starts understanding and relating to the world that this is how the patriarchal or so-called patriarchal society seems to be, and perhaps that's the moment these trust issues and several things actually starts developing to a great extent.
So let's just say, for example, a girl is having kind of a father who is a bit more dominating in a good way, good dominating, not physically or emotionally abusive. He's good dominating, and he's the only money making person in the family, and have a strong personality in the market and in the house. His decision and his mindset is outstanding. And if you see a boy mother is not so mature, emotionally drained. In Hindi, if I speak clearly, in Hindi it would be, in English, a dumb people. Like, if I give them a tag or something, a dumb people. So what kind of the relationship the adults are going to have? Because you said no, that girl look at the father and the boy look at the mother. So what do you think? What kind of a relationship they will form?
Well, let's say if there is a strong parenting, very, very strong parenting, let's say the girl sees a very strong father who is very understanding and perhaps, has a deeper perception towards life. Now, for that particular girl, for that particular story, it is a very different story, because for her, the expectations from a man would be similar to like that of the father. And subconsciously, she would only look for that particular trait in a man. Even if she gets it or not, that's her destiny. But the point here is she will be searching for that quality. Now, if that quality is missing, then that's the moment she falls, sadness, anxiety, and all those kind of things, because definitely, because that what she longs, she's not able to find it.
Yeah, so that's the expectation story comes up. Yeah. Okay. And what behavior a man will adopt by seeing this kind of a female, a mother female in the family? What do you think? What traits he is going to pick up?
Suppose you're saying that the father is very, very authoritative, or okay. So
I'm saying there are different people. Like I recently got this case where I was also trying to understand that from where they picked up these kind of things. What was the past trauma? What are the behavior patterns? What are the patterns they formed in their childhood? Why the man is angry? Why the man is immature? And I was trying to figure this out, and that's the reason I put it in front of you. So it's a different, they're the couple and they have parents like this. And when you said a man pick traits from the mother and the girl sees to the father, that's why I'm putting this way. They are not couple, they are different people.
See, at the end of the day, every relationship has its own baggages. So when the husband and wife come together, the husband comes with his own baggages, the wife comes with his own with her own baggages.
Yeah.
Now, when they come together, they form a union, and perhaps they start learning to accept and learning to accept each other. The problem is acceptance doesn't happen because the expectations are completely different, coming from two different walks of life. But even if they find that win-win situation, there will be something which is missing. And perhaps that's what people struggle with.
Yeah. So that's the reason kind of a people you are here now. So tell us that how to make a relationship in a way that there is always win-win situation.
Okay. So I would say, let's say if you have ever traveled by a ship or a cruise or something like that, you
Yeah.
realize that it's never a steady journey. So
Mm.
even if you are going to the finest of the finest cruise, there will be some, disturbances, some turbulences because of the waters and how it is. Same applies if you go by a flight. You
Mm.
go through that turbulences. If you go through a business class, also the problem remains the same. If you go for an economic class, also the problem remains the same. Which means any relationship that you choose will have a problem.
Yeah, of course.
That's from So from there I'll begin. So let's say I always believe the intent by which you start a process will deliver exactly the same results. So the intent before getting married is that I'm a lonely person and I want somebody to complete me. What will I find? I will find loneliness in my marriage.
Mm.
But if I look from a different perspective, I'm a complete person and I would love to share a completeness with somebody who's like me. Then what will I find? I'll find completeness.
Mm.
So people who struggle with this concept of soulmates and several things, they're coming from this incompletion. They're saying that my life is incomplete. I want somebody to complete me. And which is one of the reasons why they find difficulties in their relationships.
Now I feel that 90% of the people make this mistake.
Absolutely.
Right.
Even 100%, I would say.
Sorry?
I'm saying even 100% makes the mistakes.
Yeah, I say ना 10% को रहने देते हैं भाई. That's the spiritual gurus over here. So 90% of the people make this mistake and they get married with a perception or intention that other person will complete them in some way or the other. In their head, subconsciously, it is there. It is there no matter what. Whether it's even about the health also. Ki I will start taking care of myself when I will get married, and my husband, they also think that my husband will take care of me or my wife will take care of me. They need some kind of completeness in the firm, so they get married. Now what can they do to save the marriage and bring the completeness and security and fulfillment on their own, so that it comes in the relationship also?
Okay. I always say well begin is half done. So obviously they have begun the journey, which is an indication that they are ready to take up these adventures of life. And perhaps they're ready to accept each other. That's where they need to begin from. Which means, irrespective of the marriage, whether they are love marriage or arranged marriage, they'll reach at one spot only. So after that, the cover goes off, charm goes away. They are struggling, and obviously they find
the reality comes. The honeymoon period is over.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So there is no charm. There is nothing which is left out, because that's where from the scratch they have to begin. And many couples don't actually begin from there. That's one of the reasons why they continue, to drift apart emotionally, physically, psychologically, and spiritually. So how to reconnect? Because this is the time they have understood that these are the qualities that you like about the other person. These are the qualities which you don't like. And it's a fact that the other person will not change.
Yeah, definitely. That's for sure.
So if the other person cannot change, what are the strengths that you have in this relationship which can work out? Now, these are not the strengths I'm going to talk from the astrology perspective, which all those kind of things. I'm not talking about all that. I am only saying that when you start staying under one roof, you'll get to know what are your strengths and what are the other person's strengths.
Definitely.
Now, almost every day, if you are trying to focus on that strength and trying to cultivate a meaningful chapter almost every day, then you're done with it. Then I'm 10% sure your relationship will not lose its charm. I'm not saying it will not go into a larger than life level, but at least you will be in that functional level.
Yeah, that's amazing. I tell you a story over here. What happened with me when I got engaged now. So there were times when we fought like, dog and cat. I feel we did a lot of little bit of fighting, and sometimes the fight was so heavy that I I couldn't imagine that, oh my God, this is happening. Because no matter you are a counselor, coach, therapist, whatever tag you carry, relationship is relationship. You know,
Absolutely
you get the obstacles, you get the challenges, same as life, I feel.
true.
So I was talking to one of my favorite person in my life. His name is Varun Harnal. He's amazing coach. And while talking to him, I understood that I am not able to change myself for him. Like he wants me to be in certain way, and I cannot do it because I feel this is not a right thing to do. So in the same way, he could also feel that what Kashish is asking for is not a right thing to do. So if I cannot change myself for him, how can I expect him to change for me? I am more aware because I am in this field. I have the knowledge because I have the psychology background. He is a simple hotel management guy. So how could he be the change if I am so mature and couldn't be the change? And then I paused and understood that ऐसे काम नहीं चलेगा. I said this changing thing कि तुम मेरे लिए change हो, तुम मेरे लिए change हो. This is not going to work. So then I figured out that this is not a right way. And when I got married, now I tell you the strengthening part you were saying now that every day if you focus on the strength of the relationship, you will save your marriage or relationship, whatever you have with the tag. So what we have a deal, me and my partner have a deal that every single night, no matter how much we fight or how much love we do, or wherever we are on this entire planet, we'll say one good thing about the partner. For उसी दिन में for the 24 hours में जो भी हुआ होगा सिर्फ एक चीज he will say about me, I will say about him. Sometimes there are 2-3 things which we want to say and we say also, but sometimes it's too hard to figure out just one thing also to, you know,
Absolutely.
for
We
that
discover.
partner, but still we manage to do it. And now I have started making notes of it because when we have this little bit of fire of mental fire between us, then I just bring that copy and I say, these are the things you like about me. These are the things I like about you. So let's make peace with each other and let's not waste our time in fighting. Let's figure out a way. So it becomes easy for us to handle the relationship challenges. So yeah, this strengthening things really works. And the fact that I am already doing it, I need something more from you that how can I make it more better? You tell me that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I always believe the journey of emotions begins within your own self. It's not about the partner. It's not about anybody else in the whole world. So the only person who can take up the ownership of the emotions is your own self. You can't take the ownership of the other person, but at least you can take the ownership of your emotions. So if your emotions are intact, if your emotions are not getting toxic, then obviously the relationship will not become toxic.
Yeah, of course. So how to make your emotional journey uh, peaceful and happy and fulfilling? Because no matter what, as you said, we all have our baggages. We all have our own things, and from there we form some kind of patterns, insecurities, trust issues, or bondages, or anything. Let's just say, if I talk about me, I share my story. I got bullied in the childhood very badly, and I always seek for the love of another person. By the grace of God, my parents were too good. They loved me unconditionally. I had the best and amazing family on the entire planet. But but the friends part and the different other world part is totally different. No matter वो घर के दोस्त थे या वो स्कूल के थे या वो कॉलेज के थे, I struggled. I always struggled, making connection with them. I got bullied. They didn't like me, and I used to always crave for the love of other people, in spite of the fact that I used to have unconditional love of my family. And when I got married, I felt he is my friend. I am talking about the engagement period. I felt he is everything for me. He's my friend. He's my boyfriend. he's my husband. And somewhere I became obsessed. And when you take up the energy of obsession, you try to control, because why he's not doing this for me, why he is doing this, why he should do this, he is not doing this, all that drama. And within that period, when I used to sit with myself, I figured out, baby, you are obsessed about him, and this is not how your relationship is going to work. And then I figured out why the hell I am obsessed about him. Then I figured that because I didn't got the love from any outer world people, other environment, and he's outer world, and that time he was outer world for me, in spite my three people in the family. I was so dependent on the, to get the love from him, because I never got from the love from outer world. So I was always like, he should do this for me, he should not do this. This is the way he should behave, this is the way he should not behave. I become like psychopath, I see, sometimes. But then when I figured out, I became aware about it. And the more I became aware, I started observing my expectations, my conversations, the way I am seeing him, the way he's seeing me. I managed to keep it simple, and I've overcome that, but still somewhere I feel that obsession is still there. Maybe it's a 10% in my head right now, but it is still there. It is still there. And now I have overcome the 90%, but that 10% I need to overcome. So I have done all the parts I could do to overcome that obsession. So what would you suggest me to overcome that obsession? Because there are so many girls outside, there's so many boys outside who are craving for the love of the outer world. Specifically, I say teenagers and young adults with college time period. Family to gayi bhaad mein us time pe. नशे काटेंगे, नाम लिखेंगे. I don't know if you have seen it or not. If on the hand, इधर नाम लिखेंगे, नशे काटेंगे, पता नहीं पैसे देंगे बहुत ज्यादा, ताकि वो इंसान आपके पास ही बना रहे.
True.
I see these kind of behaviors in my daily life, because people come to me, and specifically teenage ones, they are like, chup chup ke to milne jayenge. Girls offer their body so that a boy be with them. Boy is with them. They offer the money so that the boy is with them always. And in return, boys are just like, I'm not putting कि girls ऐसे नहीं होती. It works vice versa. कोई भी कैसा हो सकता है. So they're like, insulting them, criticizing them, humiliating them. And in spite of the fact that they know they are doing it, still, just because of that obsession in their head, they're not able to break the pattern and leave that person. And they know it's good for them. So give them insight that if anybody who is struggling with this kind of a behavior or an obsession, that they are doing so much for another person and they're getting nothing in return, in spite of the fact that insult, criticism, hate, pain, shame, whatever you tag. So give the insight on this.
So it's a very beautiful insight that you yourself have given, that relationships that are toxic will actually consume you completely. It will be like, it's like, you have this acid which is just near to you. If you touch the acid, what will happen? It will burn you. So similarly, relationships that are toxic will not have love, will not have respect, will not have understanding, will not have sensitivity, which are the foundations for a relationship to work out. And if there is no growth, there is no maturity, there is no understanding, irrespective of the age. It is not that it is just restricted to teenagers. Even when they get married, let's say they get into, women get into excessive sacrifices. Yeah. And perhaps that sacrifices in the name of upholding the family values, whatever that you wish to define, but in that process she's losing her identity. So I would say, whether you are married, whether not married, whatever is the dynamics that you are involved into, the identity should not be compromised. If the identity is compromised, the guy is not actually staying with you. He's actually exploiting you at one levels of awareness. So it's time to walk out. It's time to know that when to stand for the relationship, when to walk out. So one should never actually tolerate any kinds of abuses.
That's why, I always say to the people who are going through this journey, because it's a lot these days, a lot. So I always say, get your shit together and have your own life, your own friends, your own people to have to go to coffee with, your own people to watch movie with, your own people to eat your favorite food, or you sometimes your own company to just go and have fun with yourself. You need to, because at the previous like age of my mama and everybody, um, they don't have the careers. And recently I got a case which was so painful, I say. The male in the relationship was literally abusing by saying to the kids that beat your mother and she won't be able to do anything. Beat your mother right now, I'm standing. He was literally teaching the children to beat the mother, and the children actually did it. They actually, you know, they actually did it. It's a shameful story, but and what I only see is she have she don't have a life,
Absolutely.
and that's why she's struggling so much. Because when you have your own friends, when you have your identity or a career or your hobbies or your fun things, when a shit comes to you, you slap it and you move on. You say this is a boundary. You be in your, because divorce and breaking up is not easy for everybody. It's a very conscious choice to make. It's a difficult choice in India specifically because of the family backgrounds and everything. But having a shit together, that gives you strength to say to the another person, you stay in your limit, and this is what I need. I deserve this. So that's really important. I also say this to almost all the people that, specifically girls and the females, because we believe it or not, it's a male dominating society. Still it's a male
Absolutely.
dominating society. So it's kind of a tough for girls to figure out their own ways. So while we are on the journey of getting our shit together, what is I feel is most important thing is self-love. Because if they don't love they don't love themselves, how they will ever be able to put an effort to make their life a better place to live. So I am going to connect with this hypnotherapy. So how hypnotherapy can help people, not females, not males, just people, to be more loving towards themselves and others as well.
Okay. So if I put hypnotherapy as a term, it is something which is helping you to connect with your own self. So it's a journey that you are undertaking into your subconscious mind. Now, when you say subconscious mind, it's a storehouse of all your experiences from your childhood until now, and in your past lives, with your cellular memories and genetic memories and all. So it's a storehouse of all your experiences, all your emotions, the good, bad, everything is stored there. The conscious mind is the storehouse of your rules of life, what you have learned from your social, cultural, educational, religious upbringing. So if your rules and your experiences go hand in hand, that means there's no stress. Let's say I'm happy. That means my rule says that, okay, what I've learned, that's my belief system. My experiences, whatever that I've had so far in my life, if that substantiates that rules, then I'm definitely happy. If it's not, I'm unhappy. So I can't change the rules because obviously the socio cultural, educational, religious upbringing has actually taught me to that level that I will not be able to erase it much. Even though there are methodologies to do it, like working with the cognitive behavioral approaches and all, but still, it has its own limitations. We know it how much the person can erase it.
Yeah.
So coming back to the subconscious mind. So we believe that the subconscious mind is like 6,000 times more powerful than that of your conscious mind. So which means that if there are toxic experiences stored in the subconscious mind, it will override the rules. So the rule says I want to be happy, but the experiences are toxic. It will be 6,000 times more powerful. And perhaps even if you want to be happy, the experiences starts dominating you. the memory starts coming back to you. So what needs to be done? So hypnosis is a process to filter, bypass the conscious filter and enter your subconscious mind. And when you enter your subconscious mind, you are able to neutralize the toxic effect of that experiences that you got. So that 6,000 times formula will not work, because obviously you have already neutralized. So there is nothing there's no trigger inside. So even if the other person reacts very badly, there's no memory that is triggering you to react in a much more worse way. So now you have a new perspective to deal with this crisis. So helplessness, what you experience in your life, is not about the other person. Helplessness is what you feel because you have some resources, some situations that is something which is not up to the mark or not optimized enough so that you are not able to tackle it. So when you discover that inner truth, which means the strength cannot come from outside, the inspiration cannot come from outside, the anger cannot be subsided from the outside, the calmness needs to be experienced from inside. So when you undertake a journey into your mind, the stories of your mind, what I will say, the objective is not to get lost in the stories of mind, but get the insight from those stories. And when we are able to get the insight, the subconscious insight comes up, the conscious mind will rapidly, readily accept it. So you find
how much time it takes to hypnosis to be properly, get into the subconscious mind and start getting the results. How much literally time it takes.
See, for hypnosis to work, the client needs to come from this understanding that I want to change my life. That's when the change begins.
Okay,
if somebody doesn't want to change,
yeah.
I don't have a magic wand in my hands to
Yeah,
change somebody's life. So it is a belief that I'm trying to work upon. So if the client believes that I don't have a partner who loves me or is not sensitive enough to my needs, then I'm trying to work on that belief. I am not saying that he is a good partner. I'm only saying what you have, the goodness within you, start accepting with that. So even if the other person is different, you are able to accept yourself. You don't get get into a toxic patterns with that individual because of the other person's lack of contribution. Because many times in marriages or in relationships, the other person may not be having that resources to contribute. Maybe that person is not emotionally intelligent enough to understand or being sensitive to your needs. And for that situation, you should not get into that, zone where you start hurting yourself. So hypnosis, when you start discovering the self-love, you start finding the change. Now the change happens within that first session itself.
So hypnosis is simply a person saying, and you are just closing your eyes and being on that imagination journey. Is that so, or it's more to that, or it's different, or what it is?
Okay. So I guess we are all seen hypnosis in television and perhaps a little bit in movies and all.
Yeah.
It's the only known concept for many people.
Yeah.
Maybe some more wilder imaginations like dreams, like in Inception movies, a little bit about mechanical work that.
Yes, actually.
So there are very few experiences people have, people have seen under movies. Now, what happens under hypnosis? Hypnosis is a state of deep relaxation. So unless and until you are relaxed, you can't go into the trance state. So you are going into a breath work, you're going into relaxation, and then you go into visualization.
Okay, so there we can do self-hypnosis, or we need another person to say, and then we go deep. What it is?
So when we do self-hypnosis, we don't need another person to it. Yes, for the first time when you're doing it, you have to learn it from somewhere. So obviously you have to hear it out. So that's the only thing. But yes, once you learn self-hypnosis, you can implant any suggestion that you really wish to give it. Now that suggestion should resonate with you. Consciously, if it doesn't resonate with you, then there is no point of giving that suggestion to your subconscious. It will filter it out.
Yeah, that's right. So tell me one more thing, that this hypnosis can change any kind of beliefs you have.
Yes, definitely.
It has so much of power.
Absolutely.
From how long you were doing hypnosis?
I guess, like I said, for the last 15 years, I was been into this profession. So you can count the number of cases
Hypnosis from the beginning.
from the beginning. Because I see psychology is a parallel division, because I had to, because obviously the legal part of the picture is obviously you want
Of course.
something which is substantial, something which is strong,
Yeah.
which needs to be done. But simultaneously, when I was, began my career of hypnotherapy, I was getting into all kinds of cases. So there was a parallel profession that was built up, which was of clinical hypnotherapist, past life regression therapist, a journey, which I help people to understand the subconscious. Now, where does hypnosis work? Hypnosis can work with relationship problems. Hypnosis can work with medical issues. Sometimes women going through menstrual disorders, PCODs, unexplained infertility. Now, there are all subconscious belief systems which is making that woman to go through that experience. Or sometimes the woman is going through extreme crazy PMS. So these symptoms are not just physical symptoms. It's the emotional symptoms, what she undertakes on this journey of life. And so you're working on those belief systems. And sometimes you can work with, addictions, cases that you can wish to solve. So anything where you are not getting logical answers to your illogical life situations, that's where hypnosis comes into the picture. That's where even the deeper works like past life regression comes into the picture.
So if I say that any kind of problem or issue a person can have is all related to the belief system,
Absolutely.
and any kind of belief system can be changed through hypnosis.
If the belief systems are corrected, obviously it can be changed. Because I give an example to it. There is a difference between meditation and hypnosis. Okay. So I'll give a very simple analogy to understand the meditation and hypnosis. I don't want to bore the people with definitions and this thing. So I'll give an example to it.
Yeah.
So let's say you have gone to a swimming pool, right? Everyone, most of us have gone through a swimming pool. So if I say meditation is like jumping into the pool from the side. Okay. And when I say hypnosis, it is jumping from the top. Okay. So you can understand the depth where you will reach.
Okay. So what you choose more, meditation or hypnosis?
See, meditation is used for a certain objective, certain purposes. But many times, even the doctors at times, conventional psychiatrists and psychology, even myself, if I look at my background of psychology, we understand sometimes when a person is severely depressed, this can backfire. Because the person can get into more depressive symptoms if they get in touch with that unhealed part of themselves. So when you do a hypnotherapy, you are trying to work on that unhealed part. You're not simply chanting a mantra or just simply chant. So I'm not saying that it is not work. It will definitely work, but it will take a huge amount of time. But that catharsis, nobody is there to guide that process. Nobody is there to mentor that process. Or there is no facilitator to guide that process. Because the person has gone so deep.
Yeah. So do you teach this hypnotherapy?
I teach hypnotherapy. I teach past life regression. Past life regression is a journey that one undertakes to one of the past lives. Okay. So it's another lifetime altogether. Not only in this lifetime, but it goes extensively. So if you have heard about one of the bestseller authors and one of the renowned psychiatrists, Dr. Brian Weiss. So he talks about many lives, many masters, many lives.
I have the book. I have the book. My husband gifted me. I have the book.
That's nice. So did you read it? The story of Catherine who comes to Brian Weiss.
Yeah, I did. It's amazing. Actually, it gives you a different perspective to life, It's totally different perspective. So to everyone who needs to learn, my audience, if anybody wants to learn self-hypnotherapy or hypnotherapy to change your belief systems and past life regression therapy, which we are about to talk on, if you really need to join it, understand it and learn it, he's the master of it. The link will be given below. and you will get his Instagram ID and everything, so you can directly contact to him and learn from him, because these are the things which you really need to invest on. And because we are kind of a people, we like to invest on the Gucci bag rather than investing on your brain. But I tell you that Gucci bag will only give you happiness when this baby is happy. So to make this baby happy, you need people like us. And if you want to learn hypnotherapy or to know more about it, he's too good in it. So my audience, he's the one. Go get it. So moving forward, tell me more about past life regression therapy and how it can improve yourself and your relationship.
Okay. So when I say past life regression, it's an advanced form of hypnotherapy, which means you're not just simply limiting to working with just implanting suggestions, or not just simply going back to earlier childhood or intrauterine stage where you were in the mother's womb, because mother's thoughts also affects the child to a great extent. So that's where the conventional clinical hypnotherapy looks like. So you go to the early childhood, you heal the inner child, the child which is, the you, which is at a different frequency, that age that got stuck with those emotions. You try to heal that age with the awareness and insight. That's what the clinical hypnotherapy might look like. Now, when we step into past lives or a past life regression, which means we want to go one step more deeper. Just like I said, you're jumping from the top of the swimming pool. You're going much more deeper.
Yeah.
Now, when you go deeper, you are looking for the core issue, that where is the point of origin, which means it is not limited to this life, but across lifetimes. Now, people who believe in past lives or don't believe in past life, doesn't matter, because we know that there is a cellular memory. We know that there is a genetic memory, which is making us to go through that pattern of helplessness, making us go through that pattern of loneliness, making us go through that pattern of betrayal. So what we're doing is go to the source of that memory and find out what went wrong. Obviously, we are messed up in that lifetime, but we are trying to find a new insight, what we were actually supposed to do. When we get that wisdom, we are able to close that lifetime. And when we are closing that lifetime, we're able to break that pattern into the current. And the carry forward charge, we are breaking. So sometimes when we have these excessive emotions that we are unable to control, we can actually go regress ourselves back in time and heal that memory, get the insight and close that chapters. And from that is wisdom that we got from the past life, we can apply into our current life. So it's ultimately a life transformative experience.
How we can do that?
So let's say somebody comes to me with this issue that I have this so this lady comes to me and says that I have this extensive anger towards my spouse because he doesn't listen to me, he doesn't understand. I might have counseled, I might have done hypnotherapy, conventional approaches, or maybe cognitive behavioral approaches or counseling and all kind of things. Or maybe she has gone to other person to do it, but she was not getting results too. So what she wants to do, she says, I want to go for a past life regression to sort this out. So many people are aware that, obviously I want to have a deeper work. So now what I will help her, I will go to the source of that anger, which means that is not coming from this, because this anger is uncontrollable. She has done everything, all those anger management techniques and everything that she has learned, but nothing is working out for her. So I will go back in time, that what makes her feel anger. Now, obviously, the husband's behavior is what triggering her most of the time. So the husband seems to be insensitive, many things. So that insensitivity is what bothers her. So I'm regressing her back to that point where this point of insensitivity originated in a different lifetime. So I get to see the patterns which is flowing through that life until now. Maybe there will be multiple lives or there will be a single life. I go to the core issue, the root cause.
How do you do that? How do you do that? You make them go into meditation?
Yes. So the deep state of trance, just in a relaxed state. So the more they are relaxed, the more these visuals starts coming up into their mind's eyes. Sometimes they can see it, sometimes they don't see it, but most of them can definitely feel it. So when they go back, we start with a visualization journey, and then we regress into the past lives. So let's say the first time you step your feet on the ground, I say, okay, how's the surface of the ground? Hard, soft, clayey, rocky. So they start seeing, get to have an understanding of the surroundings. Then they say, okay, then they look at themselves. Okay, do you feel like you're a girl, boy, or a woman or man? So they get to know about themselves. Then they look for the characters in the story. Then they try to understand whether any of them are there in the current lives. So then they see the equation that they shared with them in that lifetime and see the kind of patterns that they have formed. And they completely live, go back in time, move forward in time, and finally go to the last stages of their lives so that they can understand what they went wrong. And finally, the last dying thoughts, because dying thoughts also matters to a great extent because that's a carry forward charge. And from there, they go to the high self light. They leave the body and they get the understanding from the superconscious awareness or the superconscious mind or the subconscious mind that what was that purpose of that lifetime and
Can
what
a
was the
person do this on their own?
Yes, people do it. There are, so many CDs are available in the YouTube and net. But many people, I had this lady who called me the other day, and very peculiar thing. I didn't know how to react. So she called me up, and I guess she's from somewhere in the Middle East. So she said, so in the Middle East they don't believe in past lives, but yes, people do past life work because they know that there is a genetic memory. So somehow she's seen a YouTube video of this past life regression. She followed the YouTube suggestions. I mean, some therapist, I don't know who has put this video. And after that, maybe 20 minutes down the line, she had this burning sensations all over the body. So, so she got burnt alive in that lifetime, but nobody was there to guide her in that lifetime because that was needed. There's no doubt because that was needed for her to actually come out of that trauma. But nobody was there because she was feeling that sensation and the sensation was not going. So it's not about trauma. It's about coming out of the trauma. Because if you don't know, there is a
We need
guide is
guidance
not
for
there.
that for sure. So I have heard it somewhere. I don't know whether it's true or not. That your soul leaves your body when you go in the trance, specifically when the past life regression therapy is undergoing in the process, and sometimes the soul don't come back. Is that true?
Well, I would say the soul has a time frame on this planet Earth. And before that, it will not leave. That's point number one. Point number two, even if it leaves, there is a possibility of the accidental deaths, or what we say that akal mrityu and all those kind of things. And that is the moment the bardo opens up and the soul can exit. But it doesn't mean that it will happen during hypnosis session. I don't think.
So this happens during the this trance process or not?
People never ever, because it's a safest journey. People don't want to come back. That I've seen. So people, when they reach the higher self state, they meet their dead relatives, they meet the people, they love that, feeling of paradise and sense of safety, security, and joy. So they want that to experience the other world, where we're talking about. That's what happens. And many times the grief issues are resolved completely. And it's not just a mumbo jumbo work I'm talking about. There are documented researches published in Lancet by Dr. Raymond Moody and all. So you can actually find, these are like the documented facts which are scientifically proven. And these are the people who are in the ICU patients who.
I have heard all that. Yeah, that's the reason I always wanted to learn. But when I heard about the facts and the things that, my God, the soul don't comes back. So it's a huge responsibility. Because when you're playing in the coaching, you are playing safe. When you're playing in the counseling, still you are playing safe. But when you are playing the soul, hats off, and it's a totally different journey.
But I believe that the soul has its own wisdom. It will not leave the planet Earth very easily. Reason behind this, there's a purpose in every lifetime. And unless and until that the purpose is completed, the soul will continue to stay.
So with the help of this past life regression therapy or hypnosis, a person can know what their purpose is?
Absolutely, definitely.
Okay.
Real purpose of
So how much time it exactly take to know or to go in the, is there these are number of sessions you have to go under to find your purpose in the past life regression therapy, or it's a one session and you are done?
Every session is like a standalone experience itself. So if you are looking for it's a standalone experience. So that session itself, you get the answer. Now there's a different thing that you can find in a different session. Same thing will not be carried forward. So let's say you are addressed a purpose, you got a purpose. Now the next session could be of something else if you wish to address, but that will not be the same problem.
So if, for example, a person is having relationship struggle, because of course this all is about relationship. I'm always into the relationship, self-relationship, family relationship, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, pick anyone. Okay. So with this help of past life regression therapy, we know what to do in that relationship and how to make it better. We get those answers also.
Definitely. You get to know.
And we also healed properly all the, negative black bubbles we have in the relationship or any other area of life. Is that so?
See, when we do a past life work for complicated relationships that you're talking about, that takes time. But yes, the first session itself becomes an eye opener. You get to know that you have taken the ownership of that life, ownership of the situation, and what you need to do. The next step, what you're supposed to do, that becomes clear.
Okay.
So it's all about taking the next step.
Yeah. Got it. So to all the people watching this right now, of course, I will cut this and publish it more on all the social media platforms, because this is really insightful. If you really want to take on the journey and you want to explore more about past life regression therapy, first thing you need to remember is go to the expert, not any other person, or don't use any YouTube video, because it can be risky. It's the soul thing. It's not a joke. Okay. And second, how much you charge? How much you charge for this past life?
Are you talking about training, or are you talking about session?
No, the session.
For students, yeah.
Sorry?
We do training for people. We train past life regression therapists. From an institutional point of view, we train potential therapists or budding therapists. So that's a different thing. That's a different journey. They want to, just like a coaching industry.
Yeah, I get it.
Past life. As far as the sessions are concerned, so pre-pandemic, there was a different costing, and there was during the pandemic, it's a different costing. So pre-pandemic, I used to charge 5K, 8K, 9K, sometimes it goes beyond that for per setting I'm talking about.
Okay.
But due to the pandemic times, we have reduced because most of the sessions are online.
Yeah.
It's not going into the offline mode. So then the cost becomes 4K, 4,000.
For per session, no?
Per session. Right.
And how much time it is for the session?
Generally, it will take minimum 2.5 hours. So obviously the client needs to have that much amount of time, because we have to undertake a journey, get the wisdom, and get that transformation, because that eye-opener feeling, what is happening to you, that will come in that particular session itself.
Okay. So anybody who is willing to take up on this journey, now you know the pricing, I suggest give it a try and do it with the expert, not any other person. But be sure and have a belief that this is going to work for you, because without a belief system, it doesn't matter whatever you do on this planet to save your relationship or make yourself healthy or do the work, take action, whatever it is, whatever area you are struggling with. Without a good belief system backup, nothing is going to work for you. That's what I feel personally. So that's for the session. And what is about the training? If the person is willing to take this training, what about the training? How much it cost?
So I'll put this training first in a very clear format so that people understand what exactly the training might look like.
Yeah.
So the training it's a self-reflective journey, because obviously you are also going into your own self and trying to clear your past lives.
Right.
You're also going into your subconscious mind and heal your own issues. So it's a journey of self-healing that happens for most of the people when they undergo a training, because a therapist needs to be completely healed enough. Then only the person can understand or be sensitive enough for the other people's needs. That's point number one. Point number two, when we talk about training programs, we have the basic levels, we have the advanced levels. So, and we have this diploma program. So basically the certification and the diploma program. So people who wish to, depending on their financial availability, they can go ahead, pursue whatever the choices to it. So pre-pandemic, the costing of the session used to go in lakhs, 1 lakh, 2 lakh, something like that. But now we have reduced it to the pricing. At least I'm talking about the basic course. I'm not talking about the advanced levels. I'm talking about the basic course, which is of 8-day program, where they can become a journey into a clinical hypnotherapy and past life work. That will be 8-day program. So the pre-pandemic, the cost was 55K, but now the cost is reduced to 18,000. So it is drastically reduced. So 18,000 will be the 8-day program. But that's not an 8-day, because I am still conducting a program, and it's now stretched to 15 days now, because students want to have a more clarity to it. So I did not hold on to it, because obviously it's a very deeper learning work altogether.
Yes. And for hypnotherapy, is the same or it's different?
So there are levels to it. So we have these levels to it. So the first level, then it's level 2, level 3. So we have these programs to it. But yes, right now I would advise that people can go an integrated approach. Otherwise, what happens is they learn something from hypnosis, then they don't learn something other. Then that the insight goes away. So take an integrated approach, so that that's more easier. And it's not that costly also, because that is an 18K course structure, and there's 8 days program. You get to learn
for hypnotherapy and past life regression therapy, both together, it's 18,000.
18,000, yeah.
Okay, it's an 8-day program. So any therapist or a coach who is watching this and want to explore this journey, you can always, the pricing now, look at your pockets and let's go for it, right? Okay, and let's say which both of the fields are different, and one works in the belief system, one works in the soul and the past life. So suggest us one thing for both we can do on a daily basis to change our life and relationship as well. One related to hypnotherapy and one related to past life regression therapy by our own.
Okay. Okay, so I club hypnotherapy and past life work together, and I will teach one small technique, which is practical for everyone. They don't need to get into a trance. They just can do it in the waking awareness, and within 5 to 7 minutes they can find that shift in their life. Like, for instance, they got an angry with somebody who's very dear, and you have a meeting next minute. So you have a very small time frame, like 5 to 10 minutes, to get to change your behavior and get to move something else. So working on that belief, working on that emotion can be very smooth journey. So there is a technique which is called emotional freedom technique, which is used under hypnosis also, and which is used outside also. So that's can help you to go into the subconscious mind. So you can tap into your meridian points here. Let's say this is a karate chop point. You can either
let's do it together. Let's teach me how to do it so that I can put it everywhere.
Sure. So give me an issue that you're struggling with. Like it could be anger, it could be sadness, it could be anything under the sun that you feel.
For me, it's irritation.
Okay. So on a scale of 0 to 10, where do you find this irritation? Like, for instance, it's 0, it's lowest, or 10, which is the highest?
Yeah, got it. So right now or in general?
We will have 2 questions. One is in general and one is right now.
In general, if something triggers me, I get irritated like 10 on 10%. And right now, I'm like 1%.
Okay, that's great. Okay, so
I want to be honest with my audience, because, I feel there are a lot of people think that coaches, therapists, psychologists have the perfect life.
Correct.
That's not true. We don't have the perfect life, but we are in a constant practice of uncovering and making ourselves better every single day. So any kind of a therapist, any kind of psychologist, or any kind of a coach on the planet, if a coach or a therapist is saying I have a perfect life, I believe it's a lie. Sorry?
I'm saying the person is lying to himself or herself.
Yeah, I believe it's a lie, because everybody have the challenges. And if we people like mental health professionals, I say that if we don't open up to our own backgrounds and our own obstacles, our own challenges, how can we expect this society to become more mentally healthy? Because if I, as a coach or you as a therapist or a counselor will speak to your challenges, I speak to my challenges. We give freedom to other people to speak about their challenges also. That's what I feel, and that's the reason I always say, "Ki, bhai, this is what I'm going through, and this is how I'm dealing with it." Now you say what you are going through and how you are dealing with it. So yeah,
Absolutely. So true.
let's
So,
let's
Kashish, this irritation is what you want to correct. So we have this 1% irritation.
right.
So where do you find this from 0 to 10?
Right now it's one,
Right now, right?
and in general it's 10 on 10.
No, if we're going to do it right now so that we can reduce it 1% to slightly little more lesser than before.
Okay.
So where do you find yourself? 0 to 10.
I find myself at like I'm a little bit in anxiety and irritation both, so I feel 5.
5. Okay. So we have this anxiety and we're going to just work on that anxiety so that you
Okay.
are calm, right?
Okay.
Okay. So how do we do that? So we just need to find this karate chop point. You just need to, this is the point. Either you can rub it or either you can tap it, which is more comfortable. No, you don't have to rub it so hard.
Yeah, tapping. I
So
do this
just,
technique. I do this technique, but I watch YouTube video to do it. And whenever I struggle with irritation or someone says something to me, I open my YouTube, I put it, and my husband always sees me like this. What she's doing. And when I complete it, na, so I'm like, हाँ. He said, कोशिश हो जाता है. कोशिश तो ठीक हो गई. कोशिश तो ठीक हो गई. ऐसे हाँ मैं ठीक हो गई.
So that's much miraculous itself
Yeah,
because
it
you're
is. It is.
feeling layer by layer all your emotions. So how do we do that? So which is more comfortable? Either you can just need to have a feather touch, yeah, or you can tap it, whichever is tapping. Great. So when you're tapping, so let's go with the first thought. So you can just repeat with me. So you have this anxiety which is unexplainable, right? So what you can do is, even though I feel anxious,
I feel anxious.
still I choose to heal and integrate that part of me,
that part from me,
totally and completely. Even though I feel anxious, I choose to heal and integrate that part of me, totally and completely. Even though I'm aware this anxiety, this emotional turmoil that I'm experiencing now, I'm feeling it, I'm knowing it, still I choose to heal and integrate that part of me, totally and completely, right here, right now, right here, right now. Even though this anxiety makes me feel irritated, makes me feel disturbed, makes me feel angry, still I choose to heal and integrate that part of me, totally and completely. Even though I'm aware of my anger, sometimes I express it, sometimes I sometimes I don't express it, sometimes I hold on to it, and I'm holding on to it, and I'm continuing to holding on to it, still I choose to heal and integrate that part of me, totally and completely. Even though this anger in me is making me feel very, very disturbed, very, very upset, which makes me feel disconnected, not only from me, not only from me, not only from me, but for others who matters to me the most,
who matters to me the most.
Still I choose to
Still I choose to
heal and integrate
heal and integrate
that part of me
that part of me
which is wounded.
which is wounded.
I choose to heal and integrate
I choose to heal and integrate
that wounded part of me.
that wounded part of me.
Keep your hands on the chest and just breathe in and breathe out 7 times. And when you're breathing out, just make sure that you're breathing out through your mouth as if you're blowing a balloon. How do you blow a balloon? Just in exactly the same way. Just like how do you blow a candle in a cake? Just similarly, just breathe out 7 times. How do you feel right now on a scale of 0 to 10?
I feel totally different.
Totally different. So when we do a 3 rounds of EET, just imagine this EFT rounds. If we do 3 rounds, go step by step. Now the next question will be, I would be asking, what's your first thoughts, first impressions, first feelings? And I go layer by layer. So I initiated the process, then I go with your words and I start putting your words. And gradually when we finish 3 rounds, just imagine the kind of freshness that you're going to experience, that kind of the renewed awareness that comes into your space where you don't feel, consumed by other people's toxic behaviors or circumstances that you manifested in your life, and you find it wellness that you always wanted. And that's
Tell me one thing, when this process goes on, everybody is having different kind of challenges. Somebody is feeling anxiety, somebody is anxious, somebody is irritated, somebody is frustrated, somebody have fear or pick up anything. So they just need to go by tapping this and they have to speak, even though I'm feeling dash, Still I choose to
heal and integrate.
Heal and integrate.
Integrate that part of me.
That part of me. And we have to repeat that again and again.
Again and again till the time the next thought comes up.
Okay.
So here I did the first process where I was trying to be intuitive enough to read your thoughts. Now the second round I'll be exclusively asking you, and I will be going thread by thread, layer by layer to your thoughts. So I just initiated the process here, but when you're doing it yourself, so you can more easily find it. But when you're doing assistance with a therapist, I'll go layer by layer. So I'll be asking more questions. Okay. So when did you, so let it be the second round. Okay. So the second round says.
I'm enjoying it. Getting a free therapy.
Absolutely. So Kashish, the last time when you felt irritated, how did you feel?
The last time I felt irritated, then what do you say?
How did you feel? How did you feel? What was your state of mind? The first thoughts, first impressions, first feelings that you're getting now?
I felt lonely and left out.
Even though I'm feeling lonely and left out, still I choose to.
Okay, then we go to the process of this lonely. And then you asked me again that when was the last time you felt lonely? And then we go on that emotion.
On that emotion, what you felt. Then go by step forward to that point of origin. And many times I've realized that if you're working with a therapist at that point of time, sometimes this becomes a journey of hypnosis also. But when you're working with yourself, you will not go into that trance, but you will go into that 5 to 7 issues what you are addressing.
That's for sure, because when you are working with a therapist, it's totally different journey. And when you're working on yourself, it's going to take a little long, I feel.
Correct.
Right.
But it will help you to feel that emotional state, which is the mindset, because what we need is a mindset to get into something. So at least you can vent out that emotion and get into something new.
So we can do one more thing when, because all the people as my audience, they don't have, maybe they don't have that much amount of money to go to therapist. So is this a right option or a choice to make that whatever they are feeling at first, they open a YouTube video, they do that EFT process, And then they ask themselves, then what was the last time I felt this? Then they go to that emotional, because EFT is something, it's like YouTube pura bhara hua hai different kind of EFTs se. There are a lot of people who are doing this, and
You
even
can tap
there is a
into
book.
many meridian points here. There are many meridian
Yeah,
points.
here. I do a lot, so I know, like, here,
So I gave you the
collarbone, then
simplest
there.
version. Even if you are, let's say you are sitting in a car, somebody is driving for you. You just, even if you are irritated, you can do it at yourself.
Right.
And most women can, do it effortlessly. Even if other people are observing or something, they will not pay an attention to it. Doing this exercise.
Yeah, maybe I feel right now that I need to take a day off from my work and do the full day, working on emotion, and then I could come to the depth and the point that this is something which is really triggering me. That can happen because if I learn that, okay, I am having a migraine issue, example, okay, when was the why I'm having a migraine issue? Okay, then I go to that emotion because I have maybe trust issues and that is triggering me. Then what? Why I'm having trust issue? Because that thing happened because I felt this way, and then I go to that, and it's a whole chain. I feel right now.
So you are able to break that chain, because when you're venting out, just breathing out, you're letting go those emotions also attached to that memories, attached to that situations and circumstances.
So how much I say how much time or we should really need to give when we are working on self-healing, because I see this comes in self-healing, right? So how much time an individual should give to the self-healing in a week, and what are the things they should do for the self-healing?
Okay. So self-healing is not a week story or a month story, it's an everyday story. So if we can devote 10 minutes of at least an EET or EFT, emotional freedom technique, the shorter version I've told is the EET, emotional empowerment technique. The bigger version, you can actually find out there are different meridian points that you can tap into.
Yeah.
But I guess the shorter version will work out because that's more simpler to do it. So when I say EFT, you can do it almost every day. 10 minutes of your day, if you devote it, the whole day becomes so productive enough. Or at least when there are tougher moments in a day, you can just increase this duration. But at least I would say 10 minutes of a day will not cost you anything in life, but
It should
rather
be morning or evening.
it should be any time that makes you feel comfortable. Because sometimes some people are morning people, some people are night people. I would say that when you feel discomfort, that is the moment you can do it more extensively, or fix a time which is comfortable for you. That can also form a mind associations to that particular journey, that okay, this is the time I'm spending myself or me time for myself. I'm just hardly taking 10 minutes for myself, and perhaps I'm trying to work on my emotions, and perhaps it's not for myself but even for others, because if I don't feel good, the people who connect to me, who matters to me, they will get offended, they will get hurt, and perhaps that will ruin my ecosystem.
Do you think that doing EFT or doing hypnosis or doing past life regression therapy changes your environment?
Environment isn't the kind of people that you are in your
That
unit,
kind of
right?
people you are with, their reactions on what you do, their thinking process, and it all. Is it so that some magical thing happens and it all, the environment starts serving you, and it's all making you go further in life, what takes you backward in life? Is that so, or it's
Well,
my myth?
I always believe that when you undergo any of these approaches, hypnotherapy, past life work, or when you're talking about EFT,
Mhm.
any of these approaches is helping you to focus on yourself.
Hmm.
And that's why in Sanskrit we say Aham Brahmasmi. We are the co-creators of our
Yeah.
universe. And perhaps it is not about the other people's story. It's about you. Because if somebody is making you feel disturbed, somebody is making you feel victimized, it is you who are getting into that process. So when you change this perspective, what you feel about that moment, and when your action changes or your processing changes, what then happens is other people reacts to you also different. So
It
which means,
changes.
yes, like for instance, let's say we have a solar system, right? We have these 9 planets which are revolving around the sun. But we have this planet called Earth, which is at that distance away from the sun, which gives life, or perhaps the life is able to be created. Whereas other planets, either it's too close to the sun or it's too far away from the sun. So the moment we create the right equation with that person, we are able to create life in that relationship. So hypnotherapy or a past life work or AFT is that bridge, or perhaps that gap, or perhaps that distance, or perhaps that closeness that is created in this journey, so that the toxicity element in that relationship goes away and your response to the situation changes. When your response to the situation changes, definitely other people's response won't be the same what they used to do to you before. So which means you are on a better footing at this point of time. So even if there are people who try to intentionally or unintentionally try to harm you, your response is different. So when your response is different, you have a better control on the situation. So in the cockpit of your life, when you're flying the plane, you are driving the plane in the most powerful ways, because you are not given this into autopilot mode, but rather you are driving the plane. So I guess that is more important.
Okay. Oh my God. This session is converting into a little bit heavy because there are so many things I am discovering right now. Specifically, as I told you, I had no clue about hypnotherapy and past life regression therapy. I just used to do EFT, but not this shorter version. I used to do the 10 minutes proper long version. And yeah, this is really insightful. So it's I know I'm taking a lot of time of yours, but
Right.
I have few more questions which I will like to reflect on, give light on. What are the things you do in your personal life to maintain um, happy life and relationship, and to be more committed to yourself and love yourself? What and also self healing? What are the daily practices you opt, and what duration it is, and what, just tell us something.
Okay. So when I look at my life, if I look at the graph of my life, I had phenomenal successes in my life, and perhaps those success stories are at a very higher, level altogether. But I guess maybe because the intentions that I've put into my universe, maybe because of the thoughts that I had in my life, and perhaps, like I said, I started the journey at a very young age when it comes to practice, when it comes to the world of the science of this world, and beyond all that. Uh, my journey to see the world and perhaps on different platforms of life has attracted me a lot of adventures, a lot of ups and downs. Perhaps when you put a very, very big ambitions towards life, you are going to attract difficulties in your life.
Yeah,
You're
of
going to
course.
attract toxicities in your life. You're going to attract a lot of pain in your life. But I've realized these painful experiences of life has never tried to, you know, overpower me. Yes, there were situations it had been trying to overpower me, but I never got consumed by it. I never got, you know, drowned by the toxicity. Reason was simple, because my vision was more powerful than the pain. And perhaps when I am more aligned with my vision, because there are some days which are very, very disturbing, very, very disturbing, and sometimes you don't know how to handle it.
Handle it,
But
right.
so in that point of time, yes, I go through it. I own that emotion. So it is not that I run away from sadness. It's not that I run away from anger. It is not that I experience all the emotions. So the only difference is I don't stick to it. I don't get married to the emotion. So if I get married to the emotion,
Yeah.
what then happens is it will going to affect me 24/7. And if it's going to affect 24/7, I don't know, I might drag it to the next day. And that's one of the reasons you find these people with anxiety disorders, you find is depression, they actually prolong it and move towards the next thing. And then they don't know how to handle it because obviously it's piling up. The emotions are piling up. So what is the first thing that I do? I take the ownership of that emotion. Second, once I take the ownership, I try to work on it, or I just experience it. If I can't work on it, that's fine, because I don't have the energy to do it. Maybe I'll do it later.
So how you let go of it?
Okay. So letting go is the most difficult part, because obviously the problems are not just one day story, because there are other people involved in the problem. So if it is your problem, it is my problem, I know it, okay, I can handle it. But if there are other people in the ecosystem who's polluting the story, other family members, other people in the story, other co-workers, and all those kind of people who try to mess up, then definitely you feel consumed by it. You feel, dragged to it, just like magnetized to that zone. I also levitate up to that position. I also reach there. But then I will make sure I stick to the original vision. It might take up 20 minutes, it might take an hour, but after that difficulty or that emotional turmoil, I make sure I remember the goal, what I started. That goal could be of my relationships, that goal could be for my profession, that goal for anything that I started, the intent that by which I started. So the more I focus on the vision, what the other person contributed, obviously that contribution would be pain, emotional pains, right? So I won't get gravitated, or I don't get consumed by the pain, or I don't get infected by that pain. I rather choose to withdraw myself and rather think why I started the process.
Yeah, it's a beautiful question that always, whenever you are in trouble or having challenges time in your life, always you ask yourself what kind of an outcome you want from this area of your life. Because when we are clear about that this is kind of an outcome we want, we cut off all the drama from life. Sometimes we achieve in answering those and sticking to it, and have bilkul being clear on what our vision is, mission is. But sometimes we fall down. Like if I speak about myself, I have fallen down so many times, I tell you. But every time I fall down, I get on a guilt trip that why I wasted my 1 month about this, why I wasted my 3 days about it, why I did not enjoy that period of my life. And the next time something happens like this and it's challenging and I'm not able to manage it, the guilt comes up and say, the last time you did the same mistake, don't do it again. Don't do it again. And I become more aware, and the more and more these kind of awareness is coming on my way, the less it's consuming my energy, and it's not taking the power away to manage the situation. So yeah, it's really powerful. Thanks for this.
And beyond that, I save myself. You get into the guilt trip, but I don't get into the guilt trip. Reason behind it, I stick to the vision. I said that, okay, whatever trauma, whatever the emotions that I've gone through, I got through it, but I will not add on to it.
Oh yeah, that's a good insight.
Because
guilt is another emotion.
Because that's an add-on emotions, because I used to go that state, what you were talking about. But as the time progressed, I understood that I will not get, I'll put add-on emotions to it. Yes, some emotions are mandatory because of other people's involvement, but I'll not get, going into that journey. I'll not be pulled into that journey, but I will stick to the journey, what I've initially began. Or yes, the modification of visions do happen. But yes, I'll stick to the vision. Because the more you stick to the vision, you're able to liberate yourself from the pain and able to somehow forgive other people. Because forgiveness is a very tough process.
Very tough process. Yeah, because I feel giving 10 minutes and looking at your vision board works very well.
Absolutely.
It works very well. It helps you to reconnect. It helps you to focus. It helps you. It's an everyday reminder that, baby, you are meant for this. Don't get into the trap and the shit of other people's environment. That's what I feel. Yeah. So I highly suggest people to have the vision board and to at least go through that vision board every single day for at least 5 to 10 minutes whenever you have time. So it's help you to reconnect with your own mission and vision of life. Because when you put imagination on the piece of paper with the graphics and everything, and you see it every day, it gives you more power, and every day you have a choice, then you become more aware about your values and the choices you are making every day. Instead of Netflix, you watch documentaries. Instead of eating fast food, you go for the green juice. Instead of moving outward and having just party, you go with a healthy communication and clubs which gives you more insights and those things. Instead of wasting TV, you do the journaling part instead of gossiping, I mean. So these kind of changes comes when you are connected with your vision. So yes, amazing. So the last question, I'm not ready to leave you, but of course the time is up, and oh my god.
Go
uh,
for it. Go for it.
yeah, the three things you have learned in last 15 years the hard way, give us those three things so that those insights, if we apply it in our lives right now, and it should not be common, it should not be something which we already know, it should be something really different. So only give me us three insights which you have learned in last 15 years the hard way, and it should not be common, so that if we pick up and if we apply it, so in this next 1 year of our life, we will get better, and we will achieve more and have more success, have more peace, have more good and better relationship, have more achievements in our life and accomplishments. Give us that three things.
Okay. So three things. Great. So if I look at my life, it was never a linear journey. Obviously that, okay, you have to do this, you have to do that. It was not. So, which is, I've broken that conventionality. So I don't stick to conventional concepts at times, because if you are very clear about what your intentions are, if you are very clear about what you intend to achieve in life, it doesn't matter what the world talks about it. Because many times we get affected by other people saying, we get affected by what our family says, what we get affected by what people says, we get affected by our co-worker says, what we get affected by all those people who matters to us, but we don't listen to our inner truth, and which is one of the reasons why we live life of compromises. Healthy compromises is good, but I'm talking about toxic compromises where you are compelled to listen to other people, and sometimes they expect too much from other people, from you, and you get consumed by it, you start following it blindly. So it's time to create that boundaries, very strong boundaries, what is acceptable and what is not acceptable, what is possible from your end and what is not possible from your end. So which means don't stick to the conventional,
Yeah.
because if you stick to the conventional, you know it what is going to happen. So
So
that's the first.
what do you mean by healthy compromises? Elaborate little bit more.
Okay. So when I say healthy compromises means, like for instance, if so tomorrow, let's say I have to, let's say somebody in my family wants to go take a flight in the morning, and I decide to help that person to pack the bag. So something like that, something like that. Just you are as sort of gesture of love. But that's okay. That's needed, because that's a healthy compromise, because you are not somebody who get up so early in the morning, but you decided to go one step beyond your comfort zone,
Yeah.
because you love that person. That's okay.
Showing kindness means healthy compromise, right?
Absolutely, that's a healthy compromise.
Okay.
But what's an unhealthy compromise? So let's say the unhealthy compromise would be, if I'm being pinpointed out for no rhyme or reason, and maybe pinpointed out in the people whom I matter, maybe as a, you know, uh, as a humor or a joke, and maybe labeling in front of other people. Is it a healthy compromise? Because you are pinpointed out of your mistakes in the other people's zone. So that's not a healthy compromise, because obviously people who matters to you, and if it is being raised, what will be the image that happens? And second, another unhealthy compromise would be if I'm doing things out of the way too much and still it is not being valued, then it's not a healthy compromise. So I have to be sure if I'm doing something, I'm not expecting something in return, but I'm also should be aware that if I'm doing something for somebody, that person is valuing and understanding the depth or maybe of the emotions that I'm involved into. If that is there, it's a healthy compromise. If that is not there, if that understanding is lacking, I'm not saying complete understanding. I'm saying at least a partial understanding should be there. If the partial understanding is there, it's okay. But if that partial understanding is missing, then you need to work on that aspect. So stick to the conventional, not stick to the conventional, but go ahead with what your heart says and what your intentions or what your thoughts says.
Amazing insight. I never thought about this healthy compromise word in my life. Good one. Okay, that's the one thing. Another second one.
Second one, I believe that, in this journey of life, you come across people whom you can trust, whom people can betray. There are all kinds of journeys that we undertake. So when we understand that there are people who try to harm you in certain ways or try to put you down in certain ways, it's time to close that chapters easily and effortlessly.
People who are trying to make chaos in your life, then you need to cut it out instead of being stressed all the time.
Absolutely.
But what if you can't cut it off?
What if you can't cut it? Because
I have read it somewhere. If your husband is good and mother-in-law is not, common issue. What you can do? You cannot change the mother-in-law.
I always say that which cannot be cured must be endured. So
what cannot be cured
must be endured.
Okay.
That which cannot be cured must be endured. So that's an what's a proverb of adage that was there. But on jokes apart, on a serious level, let's say we have attracted that pattern. Now you have to make that tangent or the equation, because you can't improvise anything in that relationship. So what you can do is that relationship can be very mechanical. Mechanical, I mean to say, what is required is what the effort that needs to be put. Nothing more, nothing less.
Yes. Oh, this is amazing.
So this is
mechanical. What was the word mechanical?
So you can get into a mechanical,
equation.
Yeah, obviously. So when you are getting into that zone, you are making sure that you are not giving too much into that process.
This is something, aha moment for me, because of course I have seen, and I was, of course, we as a relationship background, this comes a lot after marriage. After marriage, this family thing, because the girls come from a different culture and things, and when she's into the marriage, they are totally different. So yeah, this is actually good. Mechanical equation. Wow.
Correct.
Yeah.
So point number 3. So
I'm not able to get over it. Okay, so amazing.
This eureka moment came up to you.
Yeah. I need to talk to you more, to get more insights.
Absolutely. Would be
Yeah.
glad to do.
Yeah.
So the third, last but not the least, the journey what I have undertaken so far is a journey of courage. Now, what do I mean by the journey of courage? Means there are sometimes you are able to achieve some things. There are sometimes you have to let go. And there are sometimes you have to modify your visions. There are sometimes you need to modify your principles, modify your outputs or perspectives. So it's a constant journey of courage, because sometimes you have the strong convictions about being who you are. Sometimes you have to break that and come out of the world like a phoenix, from the ashes, emerge once again. So
Yeah.
It's a journey of courage to fight or sometimes modify your convictions. So the more we are able to modify our convictions and adapt to the changes, we are able to survive and thrive. And now that's a basically from the experience of my life, I've discovered that's not an easy process, but you have to stick to it with faith that tomorrow, the next day morning, is going to give that sunrise of joy, hope, not even joy, but I would say at least a hope that comes up.
Wow. Amazing. One amazing session. It's so amazing to talk to you, and I cross my heart, but I will say this is the best interview I have taken in my life. This is the best one, and I don't know about how people are going to view it, but for me, it's totally eye-opening because I have uncovered some amazing truths about life, and of course, I got 2 or 3 aha moments in this session, and it was amazing. So, all right, people who's ever watching this from wherever you are, I request you to put it down in the comment section so that we know from where you are, and there's love on your way from our side. And if you need us in any way possible, just put the comment of the questions. We can come live on LinkedIn or Instagram or Facebook. Write it down in the bracket that Instagram works, Facebook works, or whatever you feel LinkedIn works, and we are going to manage to come live with the questions you have. I'm going to specify the timings on all my social media platforms with his picture, this master picture, of course, so that you know he's coming live with me. So if you have any questions, anything you want to know more, or anything you want to dig deep on, just let us know, because this is what we are here for. We are here to help you and give you more of aha moments and give you more of insights and make you go on the journey which you really, really need. Because instead of living a life you don't deserve and it's a full of pain, hate, shame, guilt, pick up any sad emotion you don't like, or anything, instead of living that kind of a life, it's a choice we can make, to have a life of goodness, happiness, fulfillment, joy, hope, as he said. And of course, rising from the ashes, which is something we should all know, understand, and do, because that's what we are meant for. So I'm grateful and thankful for you, sir, who is here and gave us so much of insights and love. And I'm so grateful.
I would
He's
say
so
thank you,
grounded,
Kashish,
so
for
much.
I would say,
You know,
Kashish, thank you for giving me this opportunity, because I believe it also becomes an opportunity to relearn and perhaps introspect my journey of life so far. Because I believe that interviews are very beautiful and very elegant in the true sense. Reason behind it is very simple, because it makes the keynote speaker to go back
yeah,
into that journey backwards.
think
What
deep. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's amazing, and I'm grateful for your experiences and the moments you gave me and the knowledge you served us. It was amazing, and I'm looking forward to learn from you. And I know who's ever watching this, maybe not now, fill up your pockets, pay the money, and do experience these kind of things, because why to live a life which which you are not liking? Let's put some money and invest on ourselves, our soul, our brain, our health, mental health, to serve and live a better life of, love and connection. So thank you, everyone, and thank you, sir, for being here. And we will go live soon with the questions you will be putting in the comments section. The video and the posters will be in the all the social media platforms. His ID, email ID, and the courses, everything will be given below in the comment section, so that if you want to contact him, you can just go to the comment section. And don't forget to share this and to help more people and serve more people. Thank you for watching my show. I will see you the next time. Bye. Take care. It went amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, it was for
Uh,
sure.
Thank you so much. It was really good for me. I mean, this was really needed because when we take interviews now, you get, as a interviewer also, you get so much of insights, and it's amazing.
And I believe it's a beautiful journey that one undertakes, because obviously
Yeah,
when you interview, you're also brainstorming,
yeah,
obviously the realities of life. And somebody who's, giving the interview is
yeah.
also introspecting, because obviously it becomes a journey of going backwards, and also sometimes correcting one's own actions. Because many times you get an insight, okay, this is what I need to do from this moment onwards, because this is what I did in the past.
Yeah.
And that learning can
Yeah,
actually come.
it went quite long, but it was totally worth it. It was totally worth it. And
So, Kashish, how are you going to put it? You're going to put it into
I'm
parts and segments?
I'm gonna do it in two ways. One on YouTube, one on podcast,
Correct.
and I'm gonna put a little bit of insights and short videos, some for the story for the promotion, and some little more brainstorming ones in the post, so that audience can know, oh, this is too good, so we should really watch the
Absolutely, the full video.
show. Yeah, and I'm gonna promote it a little bit more. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. And
Great. So it was a great experience with you, Kashish.
yeah, yeah, and when I'm going to post it now, a day before we can go live to warm up the
Great.
audience, and so that they know this is something coming up, because I'm not going to tell you lie, but this interviewing thing is something I started. I just started. So it's going to be different journey for me also. And I really wanted people who are masters, who are like amazing. So that's the reason I wanted to do it, start from you. And I was I was, craving from it from so long, and now this is happening. But I'm so grateful that this has happened.
I believe there are no coincidences happening. Everything happens for a reason, and
Yeah.
there's a divine will which was there, and that's why it happened.
The biggest takeaway for me was this mechanism equation. Because I got married now, so there's a different story over here, and it was really difficult for me to, connect to them and figure out a way to also talk to them, because it's all weird over here. It's totally different. So it becomes very difficult to just talk also sometimes. So yeah, this is
So,
good.
Kashish, I guess you got the answer through me.
Yeah, of course. This I today आज क्या हुआ मैं आपको बताऊं. In the morning I was, from yesterday night, me and my husband were like little bit kept fit. ठीक है. No reason khit pit. What? No reason khit pit.
वो चलता है. That's part of
No
life.
reason khit pit. ठीक है. तो but and I'm like it, this time I'm not gonna talk to him. This time I'm getting irritated. भाई बहुत हो गया, अब तो मैं नहीं कर रही बात. ठीक है. So he was trying to talk and he was trying to do things. So my heart was saying like, no, इस बार नहीं, whatever comes, not this time. And from the last night, sometimes the energy is there, it affects you a lot. And in the morning I went to the temple, and there was aarti going on, and I don't know what happened to me, but I was so overwhelmed. So I with the, of course there's a mask, so nobody can see if you're crying or yelling or whatever you are doing in that. Okay. So the tears were rolling out of my eyes, and the only thing I asked for is, give me give me something, so that I know that I'm on a right path or not. Because there are times in relationship, because क्योंकि relationship में क्या होता है, environment बहुत affect करता है, specifically when you got married, specifically because you live in that house ना. And I just ask you, give me something to know that this is the right path I'm walking on, and this is I should do to make it better. Because crying about it and having pain in your heart 24/7, no, it's gonna work. It's not gonna work from more, because I started getting health issues because of all this little things in family. And I thought this is not how it is going to work. And right now, when we talked, I see it's a signal, or it's a I believe in a lot of spiritual and miracles, and I feel, yeah, maybe this is
Same here, we're
the,
talking to somebody who is
yeah,
working in
this,
metaphysical
and
domains.
you know, we in the whole session we did not talk about the in-laws. We, and I asked you the last question that give us three things, and the one thing you said is this, and I thought maybe it can work with the in-laws, and then I asked you and it worked. So it's a very beautiful insight for me, and I see as a signal in my life, you know. So yeah, it was
I believe
amazing, and
everything happens because this was meant to happen.
yeah.
Because I believe whatever that wisdom or the insight that comes to me, I generally channel it. So obviously, I get into that zone,
Mhm.
and
You
perhaps what
can mind read also.
I actually don't mind read, but yes, I intuitively try to understand what you're feeling, what you're going
Okay.
through. So being
So
a
with the help of intuition, you can know anything.
not anything, but at least a state of mind, what the person is going through, and perhaps that helps me to connect with that person on a deeper level and perhaps work with that issue that person is going through. And these suppressed emotions that I'm talking about, because I've worked with a lot of cases, especially females who go through these suppressed emotions, and that leads to menstrual disorders like dysmenorrhea, amenorrhea, uh, you know skipping of periods or heavy bleeding, or maybe cases related to cysts, fibroids, and so many things, primarily because uh, it's not a physiological aspect, it's a very thought attached to it. Obviously, what is that you're trying to suppress, what is that you're trying to holding on to, the kind of excess anger that you're trying to, which you can't vent it out. Many times in relationship, what happens is you're unable to vent that emotions, and perhaps you hold on to that emotions. And many times, even women who put on weight, unnecessarily, they try to, so what happens is they try to, that emotions gets
Yes,
very,
actually,
you
actually.
know
Yeah. So
so
if I want to go for this hypnosis and this course, what would be? What would be my fee? 18,000 is for other people. What would be my fee?
okay, we'll try to find out what is the discount that is can be given.
No, no, tell
No,
me
it's
to tell.
already in
I'm
a
looking
discounted price.
forward for it.
It's
I'm
already in a
looking
discounted
forward
price
for
because
it
if you
because you know
yeah.
it don't I don't I firstly I'm not gonna take it for other people at first, but I need to work on myself on a lot of areas of my life, my past, because I had a different histories of my past and quite traumatic ones, not because of my family, but the friends and other environment. And I have this thing in my heart. Um, I don't know whether I'm sharing it to you. I don't know whether it will be true or not, but all the astrologers, like every single astrologer I met or I have ever, मैंने अपनी कुंडली दिखाई है, he or she have always said one thing, that I'm gonna get pregnant very early. Okay. And the reason I really want to do it fast, because if I get pregnant early, I don't want to serve the same traumas and the pain and the hurt to my child. And I want to get recovered it little fast. I don't know, of course it's not planned. It's not, I'm planning it after my PhD. But if something comes up, I really don't want to give it up. And I really don't want to serve the same kind of traumas and the emotions I am having, and or used to have, because I know what pain feels like, I know what hurt feels like, I know what this irritation feels like, and how it can mess up your life and relationship. I don't want to serve it more to other people. So that's the reason I really want to do it. I don't know it's going to be true or not, but somewhere I feel that, because every single astrologer said this. Every single, not even one person said this, that okay, Kashish, you are going to get pregnant after a year of your marriage. No, not even that. Every single person just say that okay, within you are going to get pregnant, and within 1 year of your marriage, and in the second year the babies will be on your hand. And I was like, "Dhak, dhak, 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 dhak." I don't know what to do. I am not able to manage myself in the house right now. I'm not fully happy in the house right now. And how can I manage the baby? And this stress comes a lot because I don't know what I'm gonna do because it's a weird journey for me right now. And
See,
the only reason is I don't want to serve the same pain what is happening with me.
so Kashish, let's be very clear on this aspect. Like for instance, a child is an extension of you. Okay, so child is nobody who's different from you. So it's that extension who knows how to survive, how to thrive. Because Kashish as an individual is aware of her purpose, her objectives, her priorities in life. So the child cannot be weak. The child will be very powerful to understand what his or her mother is thinking at that point of time. And perhaps that will also help the child to become more self-dependent to a great extent, because obviously that is a thought that you're giving to the child. And perhaps the universe might give you that opportunity where the child also responds to your thoughts.
Okay.
So I believe there are no coincidences when you put an intention to the universe. Intention is nothing but a prayer that you make to the universe. And that prayer, you believe that is already answered. And when you give that with a sense of calmness, with a sense of faith, the whole universe will conspire to make it happen for you.
It's I want to mother myself before I become a mother. That's what I feel. I don't want to when the child comes up. I'm a very young person right now. I am not even 25 right now. So you imagine, okay, I'm 1998 born, and all the things I
Age is
have
just a
went.
number. Age is
Sorry.
just a number. Age is just a number, Kashish.
Yeah, age
Age
is this number. I know that, but the